Breaking news that's coming in right now. It's a cryptic tweet which has been put out by Sunil Jakhar, who sources in fact suggest is the front runner to take up the mantle of Chief Minister of Punjab. He tweets, and I quote, "Kudos to Rahul Gandhi for adopting Alexandrian solution to this Punjabi version of Gordian knot. Surprisingly, this bold leadership decision to resolve Punjab Congress imbroglio has not only enthralled Congress workers but has sent shudders down the spines of the Akalis," unquote. So that's the information that's coming in right now. A very cryptic and a very interesting tweet which has been put out by Sunil Jakhar, who some sources suggest is likely to take up the mantle of Chief Minister of Punjab. In fact, is one of the front runners in that race if the AICC were to in fact impose its mandate on Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh today. Sunil Jakhar has said kudos to Rahul Gandhi for adopting Alexandrian solution to this Punjabi version of Gordian knot. Surprisingly, this bold leadership decision to resolve Punjab Congress imbroglio has not only enthralled Congress workers but has sent shudders down the spines of Akalis. So does this indicate that there is to be a change of guard in Punjab? We will of course be keeping a hawk's eye on the developments in Chandigarh. There is a Congress Legislative Party meeting which has been called at 5 p.m. today. Harish Rawat, the Punjab in charge of the Congress Party, tweeted about this last night when he said that a large number of MLAs of the party in fact had told the AICC, the All India Congress Committee, that they would like for a CLP, a Congress Legislative Party meeting, to be convened so that they could discuss possible concerns that they had. That meeting has now been called at 5 p.m. today, but ahead of that, Captain Amarinder Singh, who seems to be digging his heels in, has called for a meeting of his loyal MLAs at 2 p.m. today. Captain also has in fact communicated with Congress President Sonia Gandhi. He's dialed her and he said that he feels completely humiliated and sidelined in the manner which a CLP meeting has been called without, of course, consulting him. He says because the CLP meeting, as leader of the Congress Legislative Party, it is for Captain Amarinder Singh to call a meeting. He didn't call the meeting. It was at the behest of the AICC that Harish Rawat called a meeting, which was further disseminated. The news of it and the announcement of it was further disseminated by Congress Punjab Chief Navjot Singh Sidhu. So he says, Captain Amarinder Singh says he feels sidelined, and if that were to be the case, he will quit. It remains to be seen, of course, what transpires at that meeting. Now, interestingly, the latest that's coming in from Punjab, from Chandigarh, Navjot Singh Sidhu has received the Central Observer. Ajay Makan is one of the Central Observers who's gone from Delhi to Chandigarh. He has arrived in Chandigarh already. Those visuals on your screens right now. Anand Patel, my colleague, is joining me live on this story. At the moment, Anand, Ajay Makan has arrived in Chandigarh. We also believe that Harish Chaudhary will also be reaching Chandigarh in a short while from now. So while Captain Amarinder Singh has called for a meeting of his loyal MLAs at a farmhouse at 2 p.m. today, roughly about now, at 5 p.m. there is to be a Congress Legislative Party meeting at the party's headquarters in Chandigarh as well.
Well, yes, these leaders were expected to drive down to Chandigarh. Even Harish Rawat and Harish Chaudhary, who will come from Jaipur, are also expected to be there. So all these three central leaders have been sent as special emissaries by the party high command to see that the CLP meeting goes through smoothly, and whatever the MLAs decide is carried out amicably and doesn't lead to any kind of chaos or ruckus at this point in time, so that there's no bad image of the party ahead of the assembly polls. Party high command is ensuring that whatever the MLAs decide is accepted by both the camps, be it the captain camp or the Sidhu camp, and there is a peaceful resolution of the dispute, because this was lingering on for a long time, Paulmi. If you see the negotiations and consultations which began a couple of months ago after a three-member panel was formed to look into the concerns of the MLAs, a number of MLAs had raised concerns over the manner in which Captain Amarinder Singh and his team were functioning. They were disgruntled, they were disheartened that the promises which were made by the Congress party in the run-up to the 2017 assembly polls were not fulfilled. And that has led to a lot of resentment on the ground by the party workers and also the voters. And if the situation continues like this, the party might have to face defeat in the assembly polls, and that is the reason why immediate solution was found out by making changes in the party's organization, and Navjot Sidhu was brought in place of Sunil Jakhar. But ever since then, ever since this consultation took place, ever since this feedback came, a number of MLAs started complaining that they were witch hunted by Captain Amarinder Singh loyalists, and their relatives who are in government positions, their loyalists are being targeted. That didn't go down well with the party high command. Emissaries were sent. Harish Rawat was sent to Chandigarh. He tried to bring peace with both the parties. He met Chief Minister Amarinder Singh also, but it continued. And this is precipitated to what we are seeing today, the CLP, emergency CLP being summoned by the party high command, not by Captain Amarinder Singh, but by the party high command, and these three leaders making a dash to Chandigarh to ensure everything is taking place amicably and peacefully. What we are also picking up is that Captain Amarinder Singh has called a meeting at 2 o'clock at his residence in Chandigarh. But, emissaries of the Congress party are working overtime to stop MLAs from attending that meeting.
That's very interesting. That's a very interesting point, Anand, that you make. Stay on with us. Consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai also joins us on the phone line right now. So what Anand is telling us, Rajdeep, is that emissaries have been deployed by the AICC in order to stop MLAs from going to the 2 p.m. meeting that Captain has called. So it's very interesting. It seems like from all ends they're trying to put pressure on Captain to in fact demit office.
Absolutely, Paulomi. The aim is to try and isolate Captain Amarinder Singh, to try and convince him that he no longer enjoys the support of a majority of the MLAs, and use that in a way to put the squeeze on him and get him to accept any decision that has been taken by the Congress leadership to remove him and bring in a new leadership. Captain, on the other hand, has made it very clear that the manner in which this is being done is unacceptable, and even if for now he demits office, it is going to, it's a scar, and he's already looking at a plan B, because clearly he's not going to take this lying down. He may well resign today if he's pushed into it, but the sense one is getting from speaking to people close to him is that he is not going to take this kindly. He's not going to give up without a fight. And even if today he resigns, he is likely to work on a plan B with the idea that before the next election, which are just 5 months away, Captain will either float his own party or his own group or a fresh realignment in Punjab politics. Clearly, he's not going to go down without a whimper.
Absolutely. So he's not going to go down without putting a fight. Rajdeep, when you speak of plan B, that Captain is working on plan B, and you speak of some sort of realignment in Punjab politics, what are you suggesting? What sort of a realignment is Captain looking at?
I think, Paulomi, it's a little premature to really speculate on the nature of it, but there have been enough indications in the last few months of the Captain getting close to the BJP at the centre. There are enough indications that the Captain is also exploring options with his supporters. Could he be possibly floating some kind of a party which may even align with a section of the farmers' movement, and then use that as a lever possibly to enter into the next elections? He doesn't want to be part of a Congress party where Navjot Sidhu is going to call the shots. That's very, very clear. What are his options? Possibly some kind of a alignment with the centre cannot be ruled out at this stage. But as I said, events will unfold, and we expect those events to unfold over the next month or two. Today is only, I think, Act 1, Scene 1. Remember, Paulomi, just one more word. There are a lot of MPs who are loyal to Captain Amarinder Singh, the likes of Manish Tiwari, to give you one example, who have identified with themselves with the so-called G23 within the Congress that has been targeting Rahul Gandhi obliquely and the leadership of the Congress. So what is happening in Punjab could well be also a prelude to eventually what we may well see happening to the Congress at the national stage.
Right. Rajdeep, do you see Rahul Gandhi's stamp over this calling of the CLP at 5 p.m. today? Because Sunil Jakhar just put out a very cryptic tweet a short while ago which says, quote, kudos to Rahul Gandhi for adopting Alexandrian solution to this Punjabi version of the Gordian knot. Surprisingly, this bold leadership decision to resolve Punjab Congress imbroglio has not only enthralled Congress workers but has sent shudders down the spines of Akalis, unquote.
Look, I think the Congress is a party where if things go right, Rahul Gandhi will get the credit. If things go wrong, then the question arises who's responsible for this split right down the middle in the Congress party. So, yes, there is little doubt that Navjot Singh Sidhu enjoys the backing of the Gandhi family and in particular the Gandhi siblings, Rahul and Priyanka. But on the ground, how this plays out is still very uncertain. While it is possible that as of today, Mr. Sidhu and will perhaps have the support of a majority of the legislators or whoever the candidate is anointed will have it because of the backing of the High Command. In the build-up to the elections, the last thing that the Congress needs is a divided party or a party which splits just ahead of the elections.
Right. And Rajdeep, as far as the AICC is concerned or the Congress High Command is concerned, what has made Captain so unpopular with them?
You know, I think it now has boiled down to the fact that when a series of meetings were held with MLAs, the general belief was that Captain Amarinder Singh was facing huge anti-incumbency, that he had disconnected himself from the MLAs, that there were bureaucrats who were calling the shots, that the farmers' agitation had been mishandled. So there were a string of grievances that the MLAs had. I think that was used in a way by people close to the Congress leadership here in Delhi to suggest that the only way out for the Congress was to change leadership. Once Navjot Singh Sidhu was appointed as the PCC president, it became clear that Captain was on borrowed time. And I think despite the efforts to broker a truce, that became impossible because the Captain was very clear he was not going to take instructions from Navjot Singh Sidhu. But your question as to why the High Command has chosen to dump Captain Amarinder Singh, I think it's only because the feedback that they have got from the ground is that under Captain's leadership they can't win Punjab. The question is, can they win Punjab with a divided Congress, as it now appears increasingly likely, or even more dramatically, a Congress that splits before the election?
Right. Actually, my next question was in fact connected to that. Do you think that if Captain Amarinder Singh were to go today, this will in fact give the Congress a fighting chance, considering you cited the anti-incumbency, a fighting chance going into the 2022 elections, or will this move backfire?
Look, I think if this move, my own view, my own analysis is if this move had to happen, ideally it should have happened 6 months to a year ago.
Right.
Happening on 4 to 5 months before the elections has really pushed the Congress into a situation where it will have to spend a lot of time just getting its act together in the next few months. And that does give an advantage to Aam Aadmi Party, which the polls are saying is ahead, and the Akalis, which do have a strong entrenched network. So clearly, when day after day, Mr. Sidhu has been attacking the Chief Minister, he's actually given a handle and an opening to his opponents, both the AAP and the Akalis, to exploit. So I think a divided Congress is a bad idea ahead of the elections. And if they had to force Amarinder to resign in an ideal world, that should have happened 6 to 12 months ago. Now you're going into an election where you don't know what Amarinder will do next. But make no mistake, he isn't going to go down without a fight. And that, I think, is what should worry the Congress. Will Amarinder Singh now create a situation where he will take away at least a section of the Congress vote and the Congress organization?
Right. Rajdeep and Anand, stay on with us. We're, of course, continuing with our coverage of this big political development, which is, of course, taking place as we speak in the state of Punjab. Now, amid the ongoing power tussle between Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh and Punjab Congress Chief Navjot Singh Sidhu, the Congress party has called for a legislature party meeting at the party's headquarters in Chandigarh at 5 p.m. today. Apart from the Congress's Punjab in charge, Harish Rawat, 2 central observers sent by the party high command, Ajay Makan and Harish Chaudhary, will in fact also attend the meeting this evening. We're getting some more breaking news that's coming in. at the moment. Several developments that are coming in right now. Number one, the CM has told the Gandhis he's not keen. He has told the Gandhis he's not keen to continue if sidelined, and that is one of the things he said, because he didn't call for the CLP meeting as the leader of the CLP. How come it got called? He's quite upset. He's also to meet his MLAs in a short while from now. Those are the developing inputs that are coming in from Punjab at the moment. Ajay Markan, like I said, is one of the central observers who's already reached Punjab for that CLP meeting, which is to happen at 5 p.m. Harish Chaudhary is also on his way from Jaipur. He will be attending the meeting along with Harish Rawat, who is the Congress's Punjab in charge. Before this crucial meeting, of course, Captain Amarinder Singh, in fact, has called for a meeting with MLAs who are loyal to him. That meeting is to happen very shortly at a farmhouse. Amarinder, in fact, is learned to have expressed his displeasure over the convening of the legislature party meeting without keeping him in the loop. Sources say he has conveyed to the party high command that he is not interested in continuing as the chief minister if he continues to be sidelined. India Today also has an inside scoop of preparation of the Amarinder and Sidhu camps for the crucial 5 p.m. meeting. Amarinder will focus on ensuring that at least 60 MLAs vote in his favour if voting on the next legislature party leader is held. And the Sidhu camp, on the other hand, is likely to bring a no-confidence motion against the chief minister and will likely propose the names of either Sidhu or Sunil Jakhar for the next legislative party leader.